Okay. Good afternoon once again. We are starting in a minute. We are requesting that you take a moment to introduce yourself, your project name and your name. Today we will not be going around and confirming verbally attendance. Otieno, please confirm if you are ready to start. Ben Otieno?
Yes, John, I am ready.
Thank you, thank you. So once again, welcome to today's training on Metabase, which is a data analysis and visualization tool that has been introduced as part of the suites of tools that are used by Palladium to support our data analysis and visualization from the EMR. So today's session is going to be split in two. We will have Ben Otieno take us through the tool itself. And then in the second part, we are going to have a showcase by a partner, an early adopter of this particular tool. They'll showcase how they've been utilizing this tool at a project level and at a facility level to extract data and visualize on the key indicators that they're interested in. So without further ado, our training today is a 1-hour training. We intend to start in the next moment. Otieno, please.
Yes, thank you very much, John, and please confirm you're able to hear me.
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think we'll just begin. I'll just share my screen in a moment. And please confirm you're able to see my screen. John, could you confirm if my screen is visible?
Yeah, it is now.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So as Joan has already put it, we are going to have a brief session on Metabase, and just a slight introduction into Metabase. So Metabase is essentially an open source tool that is web-based and is basically a business intelligence tool that facilitates very intuitive interaction with your data. And as you'll realize that it offers more functionalities beyond what you would expect with the Kenya EMR data tools. And you might ask yourself, why Metabase? Why are we adopting Metabase? So one, Metabase offers very simple ways to set it up and use. Especially if you're setting it up on Windows, it is just downloading the jar file and then executing that file, and you'll be on your way to using this particular application. And as you'll be seeing, it provides very interactive data querying, manipulation, and visualization functionalities, which are very user-friendly. It also kind of enables a user to ask specific questions on a particular data and receive that answer in a very user-friendly format, which you can either present as a graph or as a detailed table, whichever you choose. And it also supports dashboards, and not only dashboards, it also supports live dashboards. So in the live dashboards, you'll realize that you can set limits, or you can set some indicators that can always change depending on the data that is in the database. And with those, you can be able to monitor some of your indicators, some of your data quality metrics. You can always monitor them in real time as the data is increasingly being put into being entered into the database. The other thing is that Metabase easily connects to various database management system types, including MySQL. So when you're setting it up, you realize that it can connect to not only SQL, it can connect to MySQL, it can connect to Postgres, very many database management systems that are out there. It can easily and seamlessly connect to them. And it also supports connection to multiple databases. So you can have like 4 or 5 databases, all of them can be connected on your dashboard. So at any given point, you can just click the one you want to query, and then you proceed with your querying. So not only this, it has got additional functionalities that you'll be able to see. So for the program, what will be the value for this particular application? So I was just able to enumerate a few, but as you keep on using it, you'll realize that you can have more use cases and more value for your program. But you'll realize that you're able to develop and monitor data quality dashboards that are live, that kind of will always lead to improved data quality at the facility level. You can set indicators and monitor their progress as dashboards, where you can be able to intervene, especially if maybe it goes below a particular threshold, or if it goes beyond a particular threshold, you'll be able to set up an email where you can receive email if maybe any of the indicator is having funny data. So those are all functionalities that are there. It will also facilitate ad hoc reporting from Kenya Metabase, just like the data tools has been helping us to do. But now this will also be doing that, but in a very more complex way, but then very user-friendly way also. And because this application can be run on Ubuntu and on Windows, and it can be run at the facility level, having insights about data at the facility will always help in terms of improving and promoting the data use at the facility, because there is the more you see insights about your data, the more you get curious, the more you want to learn more, the more you want to use it more, and that kind of influences what you're able to do with your data. And not only this, you'll find that you can use it for many more use cases and applications that maybe I might not be able to enumerate right now. But those are some of the dashboards that you are able to do on the Metabase. So just to kind of water your appetite for the application. All right. Yeah. So that that was just a small introduction on the Metabase. And at this point, I would like guys to feel free to access our online server, where we have a live instance, where you're able to go in and also do queries. So I hope you are able to see it, but if you are not, I can copy and paste it in the, let me just paste it in the chat section. Yeah, so feel free to log in with those credentials, and feel free to work with me as I take you through simple navigation of this particular application. So starting the application is very simple. One, you'll only need to download a Metabase jar file, which you can get from the internet. Once you get that, please create a folder in your C, or in any particular location that you want to execute it from, and then just open the terminal window and go to that particular folder, as I'm doing, and then just execute the file by just writing it's supposed to be metabase.jar. So that's how to execute it. Once you run that, now you just go to your browser, do localhost. It runs on port 3000. So you do localhost port 3000. That's it. You'll be able to load the Metabase. So let me just load it. So I have it on the screen. So now I'm able to load the Metabase. And that's it. So one thing you need to remember is that the terminal window that is running, the terminal window has to be on all the time that you are using the Metabase on Windows. But on Ubuntu, you just need to set it up. It will be running by itself. You don't need to keep any window open. Okay. So first, how do we connect to the database? So here is how we connect to the database. When you set it up for the first time, it will ask you to add a database. So you'll be adding a database. Then specify the database type. So you can see a whole list of database types that are available that this particular application supports. Our interest is SQL. Is MySQL, sorry. So once you specify MySQL, then you give it a name. How do you want to? Which name do you want to see on the dashboard when you connect to it? How do you want to see it on the interface? So you can even say Kenya EMR database. Then how do you want to? Oh, sorry. How do you want to connect to it? So most of the time, by default, you want to connect to it through. Okay, someone is saying I'm a bit fast, so let me just go back there.
Yes, Ben. I think someone is saying you are too fast, and I see David B's hand is up. What I would request is that because we have limited time, if it's a question, please post it on the chat. There is a clear SOP on this that Otieno is going to share, but he's taken on board. He's going to just slow it down and take it, I think, a minute back there. Thank you.
All right, so yeah, so I was at a point where I was illustrating how to connect to a database. First of all, this is the window. You'll not be seeing this window before you connect to a database. We are seeing it because I'm already connected to a database, and you can see my database is called Kenya EMR, but the sample database that comes with the application is called sample dataset, which we don't need to use at this point. Okay, so I just wanted to take you through how to the window that you'll be seeing for the first time when this application loads, and that window is similar to what I'm going to show you. I'm just showing it under the admin. Then I'm just clicking the add database right here on the green, add database. So that window will be looking like this, like what you're seeing in front of you. So at this point, you simply select the database type. In our case, if you are connecting to Kenya EMR, you'll be connecting to MySQL. Then how you want it displayed, the name you want displayed on the interface, you can give it Kenya EMR. Ajwang, please confirm if my screen is visible. Someone is saying they're not able to see.
Your screen is visible.
All right. Okay, so I can give it a name. Sorry?
It could be an internet issue.
Okay, so let's give it a name. We can give it a name as Kenya EMR, or you can give it any other name that you feel like. Then the next one is now the host. How do you want to connect to this database? Are you linking to the database through some IP address, or you want to link to it as a local host? So if you are linking on it from a different host, you'll have to enter the IP address instead of localhost. But if the database is within the same machine, then localhost will do. So you'll be using the localhost, so you don't need to change anything. The default port for MySQL is always 3306. So you might want to just leave that as it is. Then what is the name of the database that you're connecting to? Most of the time, if you are using Kenya EMR, we advise that you connect to Kenya EMR data tools, because I think that is more, it has got well-defined variables. Okay, so you specify the database. Then the username that has a right on the database. So you can have the username that is already predefined in the database. So for me, I would say maybe I can have like username. I'm just trying. But you give it the name that you already predefined in your database. Then the password. So once you do the password, you simply come down all the way and then click save. So that is how you connect to your database. It is that straightforward, it's never complicated. The application will do the rest by finding the host and connecting to that particular instance. All right, so let me exit the admin so that we can now go through the navigation. So once you connect your database, the Metabase will run something called Xray. So this Xray is kind of selects particular tables, run basic frequencies through them, and brings them on your interface as visualizations. So for instance, what you are seeing on my screen, the first section where we have tried this X-ray based on your data. So these are X-rays that have been pulled. There are sample frequencies that have been pulled from the database that I've connected to. Okay. So what we do is that you can always try to just look at them. Maybe if I click on the HIV follow-up table, so you can simply see what's going on. One, you can see that I have 1,166 patients. Those are distinct patients in that particular table. So that gives me an idea of how many clients I have in my database, and also how many follow-ups I have, where I have like 32,000 follow-ups. And there are no follow-ups added in the last 30 days. So that will tell me something about my database. My database is stale at this point in time because it doesn't have any follow-up in the last 30 days. And if you look at now the distributions, these are just simple frequencies about some of the variables that are selected from my database. Oxygen saturation, like pulse rate, weight, height distribution. I can see most of my patients are between 150 to 175 centimeters in their height. I can see most of the temperature are ranging between 0 to 30, some are between 35 to 40. I can see the date created, both summative and average running cumulatives. So I can have something about my data, and it goes on and on and on. And on my right, I am able to see additional X-rays that I can still zoom into. I can still click them and I get X-rays about them. Okay, so that is about the X-rays. Second section is where you have your analytics. You'll be using this application, running some analytics and saving them in the application. So if you want to see them, you'll be able to kind of browse all these items. And when you browse, you'll be able to see some of those that you had saved. For instance, I had saved something called ARV uptake by gender, sorry. So if I click on it, I'm able to see that particular visualization as I'd already done it. Okay, so that is a list of visualizations that you already worked on that are already in the system that you can always just go back to and visualize whenever you want. So they are all saved as dashboard under the section called our analytics. Now the next one is our data. So this, as I said earlier, this is where you see a list of all the databases that you've connected to. Okay. By instance, I've only connected to Kenya EMR data tools, but maybe if you have several facilities that you want to look at, you can have databases from different facilities here, and then just do your dashboards or ask your questions about those particular databases. All right. Then very first we look up here. There is a section where you say ask questions. So ask questions gives you a space to actually literally ask questions. So you can ask different questions about data where if you click on it, it will ask you which table do you want to look at and what kind of question you want to ask, what kind of visualization you want to see, and stuff like that we are going to see in a moment. The next section is the browse data. So browse data, you can be able to look at your data. These are all the tables about your data, and you can zoom in into any of the tables and learn more about them, and even ask questions about those particular tables. The third section is now to create, where you can create new dashboards, or you can create something called a pulse. So a dashboard, when I was introducing this, I talked about static dashboards, and I also talked about live dashboards. Okay, so when I'm creating a pulse, I can create some certain indicators that then Metabase will be able to email me about. If at all maybe it has gone beyond a certain set threshold, I'll be able to receive an email. Or if it is something that I can send into the Slack, then I can set the Slack up, and then
Did we lose Otieno?
Yeah, looks like it.
I can confirm if I'm back. That was a glitch.
Yeah, your audio is back.
What about the screen?
Not yet.
It should be on its way.
Okay. You mind taking it back one step as you're generating that?
Yeah, so I was still explaining the controls that we have on the application. I've already talked about the ask question. I've talked about the browsing data. I was now talking about creating new dashboards or creating pulses, where we've said that pulses, you can set an email SMTP, where you are able to receive some notification if some indicators goes beyond a certain threshold, or they go below a certain set threshold. You can always receive a communication about that. Then the third one is now where you are able to write raw SQL script on the screen. You can do anything like maybe select stuff from encounter. You can just, I'm just trying to run basic SQL script, and I'm able to, sorry, that encounter doesn't exist, but you can write any, we are going to see that, we're going to demonstrate this. You'll be able to see anything from HIV. From HIV enrollment. If I run that, if I run that, I'm able to get a list below from the HIV enrollment. Okay, so you can be able to write your own nice MySQL script, run it on your data, extract that data, then now run visualizations on that particular extract. Or you can also be able to download your data. If you look below, there is something like a cloud where you are able to download your data and now take it offline and do more with it if you want. And you are able to download literally all the data sets that can be generated through Metabase. You are able to just extract the data and then do with it whatever it is that you're interested in doing. Okay, and then the last section is now we have settings, where you can do all those settings about users, admin, activities, blah, blah, blah. You can do everything that you want under admin, but that depends with the access privileges that you've been given. If you have been given less as a user, you might not be able to access those particular functionalities. Then the last bit which I wanted to share was the first button where my mouse pointer is, the M for Metabase. That is kind of home. So if you get lost somewhere, just click on it come back home, and now you can proceed with whatever it is you want to do. All right, so I'll click on it so that I'm back to where the home page. So I would like us to look at a very simple visualization. I think the one I can do very fast is I just want to look at the trends in patient enrollment over time. I think that's simple enough. So please see how I'm doing this. The first thing I'm doing is clicking ask question. So I'm clicking on ask question. And if you ask questions, there are three ways of asking a question. You can ask a simple question, or you can ask a complex question, which they call the custom question, or you can do a native query, like what we've just seen, where you write your own query and get data. Okay, so it's good to always look at, to decide on which kind of question you want to ask. Now, for instance, if I'm just going to pick one database, do filter summarization and all, I can just do that from a simple question. But if I want to join two or more tables, then I would want to do the custom questions. If I have my own query and I want to run it on a particular table or a particular database, then I do native query. But for this frequency, I think is a simple one because I'm just going to use one table. So I'll click on simple question. And from the simple question, it is asking me to pick my data. So my data is in Kenya EMR. So I'll just click on Kenya EMR, and I have to know which table will give me enrollment information, because HIV enrollment is supposed to be captured under enrollment. So I'll be looking at the table called the HIV enrollment. I think I've seen it. So I'll pick that, and by default, I've already have my data set. So all I'm going to do on it is just to, first of all, do some quality actions on it. So for instance, I'm interested in the date of HIV enrollment. I don't want to see blanks. So first of all, I want to filter out any blank data under HIV enrollment. So I'll go to filter, then I look for HIV enrollment. Enrolled, date first enrolled in care. Okay, so I want to pick this, and my rule is that I don't want to see blank, so I'm saying not empty. Okay, then I add the filter. So what that will give me is that I'll only get data that has enrollment date, and HIV enrollment date. Okay, so once I do that, then I think I can now run my summarization. I can now do my visualization. So when I want to do my visualization, I go to summarize. I click summarize. Okay, so I pick on summarize, and I'm looking at the same variable, date first enrolled in care. No, not is it no, date enrolled into HIV.
I Otieno.
Hide.
Yeah, since the slide or the screenshots are not moving on this side. Where are you?
Okay.
We are still on the first
Then
screen. You're picking the table.
All right, I do want to confirm that I'm back and you're able to hear me and see the screen.
I hear you. I see the screen.
Okay, so what we did is that we did a filter. We did a filter on the date first enrolled into. I don't think this is the one I want. I think I want the date enrolled into. Let me remove this. Date enrolled. Yeah, I think we're using the date first enroll into care. So what I said before I went offline was that because we are going to be interested in the date first enroll in care, we don't need blanks on it. So the first quality check I'm doing is I'm going to ensure that I only get the patients with the data under that particular variable. So I'm going to select that variable and ensure go to that date enrolled. Okay, I think it's this one. Then I say I don't want empty, not empty. Okay, so that will ensure that I only get data. I only get records with the data under that. So the next thing is that I want to now visualize my data. So I go to the summarize. So the next thing I'm clicking is summarize. Then under summarize, I just want to see the date first enrolled in care. And I want to see it by year. So I want to look at yearly trend. Okay. So if I click by year, that's what I'm getting. If I click by quarter, that's what I'm getting. If I click by month, I get a lot of stuff. But just for our sanity, I want to click year. So that's what I get. So that is the trend that I get. So what can I do with this? One, I can look at the table and see the data. And obviously I can see that there were more enrollments in 2009. So the question is what happened by then, and any question that anyone would want to ask at that point in time. And also, if I go back to the graph, I can look at the settings so that my graph looks better. I can go to the settings. I can smoothen out my curve, so I can click on that on the line style so that my line is nicely curved. Or if you want it ragged a bit, you can have it like that, but I don't think that is useful. You can also have area under curve where you can shade the area under curve, like what I've just done, and many more that you can do. Okay, so let me just do a simple line. And also, if you'd want to do like sorry, if you want to choose other tables, other visualizations, you can say you want to do a row. There we have it. We can do a row. We can also do the bars, and we can also do we can also do the line like we have. So you can change the styles of your display as you wish, as long as you're able to do what you want. And in terms of color, you can change the color of your line, and that's it. So that's how you can play around with your visualization, so that you pick it and then use it elsewhere. If you'd like to download that data, you can always download it. What you're going to end up with, you're going to download this particular data right here. So this is how it is going to show under Excel. So if I click download, then I'm asked whether I want to download as CSV, whether I want to download as Excel, or a JSON file. So whichever it is, you can do it. You can do it. Then you use that particular data. So that is fast. That is a simple question. So can we try to answer, maybe to ask a slightly complex query where we are going to maybe use more than one table? So again, I can ask a question. Then I go to custom question. Then the database I'm interested in is the same database. Then I can take the parent table. So in my case, I can pick the table as, let's say, demographics, patient demographics. Okay. Now, I want to join patient demographics to another table that maybe has, for instance, if I want to ask questions around let's say family planning uptake. We want to look at correlation between family planning uptake and level of education, just for instance, okay? So I want to connect this to a table where I'm going to get the family planning variable, and that table should be HIV follow-up, because we ask family planning questions at each and every visit on the green card. So I'll click on join data. You remember we already have our parent table, that patient demographics. Then we have, okay, one thing before I proceed is that I can pick columns. I can drop the columns I want. I can drop the columns I don't want, and I remain with the columns that I want on my first table. Then I do the join. So I'm picking the second table. The second table should be HIV follow-up here. Then which column, which is the primary column that I want to connect them using. So this is going to be patient ID. I think is the primary key on that, and patient ID on the second column. So for those who know how to write queries, SQL queries, this is just a way of saying join this table where patient ID on this table is equal to patient ID on the other table. So it's very direct translation of the same. Okay, so now I have two tables. What I can do, I can be able to preview this. I can click and preview that particular union, and you'll see that I have data from the patient demographics, and on this other side I have data from HIV follow-up. Okay, but I don't want to do that now because I'm still proceeding. So I have data from the two tables. The only thing I need to do is to visualize the same. Okay, now I have the data. So then I want to answer the question that I asked. What is the correlation between family planning uptake among the correlation between family planning uptake and level of education? Okay, so I'll just first of all pick, I want to be sure that I have the level of education field. So I'll just filter first of all. I want to end up with the records with family planning, with the family planning variables completed, as well as level of education. So let's see if we have anything on education on this table. Yes, education level. So I don't want where the education level is blank. So I'll just say I want not empty. Then I add a filter. And the second one, I'll go to the family planning option. That is supposed to be under the HIV follow-up, and ensure that they are all filled. So family planning status here, I want data on it, so I don't want empty, not empty. I add a filter. So now I have my two variables completed. So I just want to simply run my visualization, my summary, and then visualize that data. Okay. So at that point, I'll be going to the summarize. Okay. Then under summarize, I want to pick the family planning. I want to add that. So I have the family planning, not using family planning, on family planning, once family planning. Then I want to add the education level. So I just click this plus on this other side. I don't click it, but I click on the plus sign, which means I'm adding a grouping. So I just click on that. Very good. So you see what I've ended up with. I have a summary about my question, and from what you are able to see, obviously you'll be able to see that correlation coming out very clearly. Which group is using the family planning options more, and which group is not using it more. You can be able to answer that question using what you have in front. And once you do that, you say done. You can download that data, or you can just look at the table and see what you have. This is what you have on the table and stuff like that. And you can be able to change the colors as I already showed you through the settings. You can stack them up if you want to see the proportions, or you can just unstack them. You can look at the percentages if you will. and see the correlation now in terms of percentages. Or if you choose, you can just unstack and leave it the way you want. So this is entirely dependent on your flavor as a user, how you want your visualizations and your dashboards to look like. Okay, and you can change colors as well. We've talked about that. And then you can also use this particular panel to choose the kind of visualization that you'd like. We've touched on that. Okay, then the next thing is that you can be able to save this particular query. You can save it, give it a name, and say AP update by education. You can have it something like that and then save it. Now you choose where you want to save it. You can save it under your collection. So create, you can use the default analytics collection. So in my case, I'll just say keep it under my personal collection and save. And then I choose whether I want to add this to a dashboard or not. If it is something I want to monitor over time, I can add it to a dashboard. If it is something that I'm just using for immediate use, I'll just say, I can say not now, I pick it and then I use it elsewhere. Okay. So if I say yes, then I choose where to place it. I can place it in sample analytics, or I can create new dashboard, or I can put it under my collection, whichever location that I want it to be. Okay. Then the last bit, is where we have the queries. Where we have the queries. So for instance, if I had a query looks like this. Ajoa, please confirm my screen is still visible and the query is visible.
Yes, it is.
Thanks. So this is a sample query, which I was, it was sent by Enoch Rubut from KCCB Cup just for testing this. So thank you very much, Enoch, for availing the query. So you can pick this query, copy it as it is, and then come to the right SQL, choose the table that you want to use, the database that you want to use, sorry, and then paste that query. So as you can see, I've already pasted that query right there. So the only thing I need to do is to run it and then get the data that I can get out of it. Okay, so I have this data. This is the data that I got from the query. You can choose to save this data and maybe call it, what do I call it? Just Xcar. It is something about Xcar. I can save this. Once you save it, now on your right, you're able to see explore results. So explore results gives you additional functionalities to ask questions about this particular data set. So if I say explore results, then I have my results. Now we can go through the same thing that I did. You can filter, you can summarize as you wish. For instance, if I want to run a frequency about the TCA duration by, let's say, by what? I can run it by gender, I can run it by marital status, or I can just run it on its own. I can simply say summarize, summarize TCA duration. But I don't want the auto bind, so I want to just have the default, which gives me the distinct TCA duration between the point of appointment and when they come back. So I just want to look at that in a bar form, and you are able to see from my little visualization that most of the patients are given 3 months. Very few are given 6, and some are given 0, which is interesting. Questions will be asked about that. That means they are giving days, they are not given months. So whatever you see as TCA duration is in months, all right? So you can get such outputs. If you have a query, you can download the data and do everything that we've already done. Yeah, so that is just kind of like a summarized walkthrough into the Metabase. I would consider it's like an introduction to the Metabase, but we'll provide resources under the chat section where you can go and read some more or get more information about it so that you are able to take advantage of all the functionalities that are offered by this particular application. So as John said, before we conclude, we have Silas Nechai from Chuck, who is also going to take us through what they have been able to do with this particular application. Through Silas, Chuck have started using Metabase. They have rolled it out in some of their facilities, and they have started using some of the functions of this particular application. So we just wanted to give Silas a chance to take us through a sample of what they've been able to do so that we can get more insights into how to use this particular application. Back to you, Ajuan, for more direction, additional direction.
Thank you, Tieno. I'm sure there could be some questions. We can wait until the QA section. Silas, please confirm you can project.
Yeah, I can. Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you take down your screen, please? Thank you.
You can please confirm whether you can see my screen.
Yes, clear.
Okay, thank you. So just like Bernard has said, we actually use Metabase for some of the QAs that we are doing. There are some indicators. There's some results there's some data that you need from the database, which actually from the front side of Kenya EMR, you are not able to do like a summary of them because you'll want to see client by client. So just allow me to do a simple, a custom question. My question would be, I would want to see the number of clients that have been done TB screening and what was the outcome. So I'm going to use Kenya EMR data tools. This process Bernard has taken us through. I want to use our current in care table. From this table, I'm not interested in all this. As you can see, there are many variables, but I just want to see the visit date, the patient ID. I can use gender from these tables, from this table. So I'm going to uncheck the indicators that I don't need. So I'm going to remain with visit date, patient ID, gender, and stability from that table, current in care. I'm going to join this table with another table that I'm going to get the screening from there. And from this table, I'm going to I want to see what was the outcome from the patients when we talk of whether they were assessed for cough, fever, weight loss, and night sweats. As Bernard took us through the joining, I want to join the two tables using patient ID. Yeah, and then I'm going to preview my data.
Silas? Silas, are you there? We seem to have lost him. One minute. Sorry, pardon. Otieno, are you able to get Silas by phone?
Yeah, I think it's resetting his connectivity. So maybe as we wait for him, I wanted to just show one last bit of Metabase, which I was thinking I would share after Silas, but let me just go as he sorts out his internet. Ajuang, should I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so let me just share my screen one more time. Yes. Yes, so I just wanted to show like how the dashboard, Metabase dashboard looks like. Once you've been able to do your queries, save them on a dashboard, and you really want to monitor them. So you'll come down to the analytics here.
Otieno, we lost you. Your net dropped. Silas, are you back?
Silas is getting back, Ajuan. I've spoken to him. Should be back.
Okay, Ajuang, can I proceed? Sorry for that. Ajuang?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. All right, so I was showing how the dashboards look like in the Metabase, and I was saying that you come to the home, you click home, and you come to the analytics section, and then you browse for all the analytics. So these are all saved analytics, but my interest is in the dashboard. So I created a custom dashboard called the sample analytics. So if I click on it, then I'm able to see some of the saved dashboards that are already done. So I can monitor this, and one way to monitor them, in fact, you can have them in full screen. Okay, you can have them in full screen. You can have it in night mode so that you are able to monitor them. You're able to monitor them in real time. And one beautiful thing about this is that you are able to set when these dashboards will auto refresh. And as I said when I was starting, you can have live dashboards that auto refreshes at a certain interval that you set. So for instance, if I say I want my dashboards to refresh maybe every 5 minutes, I simply select 5 minutes. Then all these dashboards, based on the rate at which data comes into the database, you'll be able to see them refreshing after each and every 5 minutes. Okay. So if at all, maybe for instance, as I already shared, if you had, let's say you wanted to monitor data quality issues at a particular facility, and you have a dashboard like this, and you set your indicators for the data quality, whenever that whenever those variables go beyond a particular limit or they go below a particular limit to notify you that maybe there is an issue with the data, you'll be able to see that in real time on your dashboard. Okay. And if you want the email sent to you on that, you can configure the email so that the system can send that particular issue to you. But that requires connectivity, internet connectivity at that particular time. So that's what I wanted to share about the dashboard. You can do better dashboards than mine, but at the end of the day, you're able to take advantage of the full functionalities of this particular application. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to share, John. I don't know if Silas is back, so then he can proceed.
Do you know,
Tell
have
us
you
it's
shown
back.
the dashboards?
Sorry?
Anthony?
I didn't see the dashboards.
Seriously?
Uh,
I thought
Oh,
I have
but
them on.
it's okay. It's okay. Ah,
Silas
yeah,
is
yeah.
back. Silas, please confirm you can project. Silas?
I have seen Silas, but I think Otieno needs to give him the mic.
Silas,
Made
please
him
raise up your hand.
I've made him a presenter. Does that help? Yeah, I think now you can present, Silas. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sorry for that. We have issues with our internet here. Confirm, please, if you can see my screen.
Yes, we see it.
Okay. Thank you. I had reached where we had done the custom question and visualized. So this is my data. What I wanted to point out is that from this data, you are able to see the clients. You are able to see whether the screening was done and what was the result. The interesting bit is that from these patient IDs, I'm able to click on patient ID and view the details about that patient. You can see on this, from this custom question that we did, patient number 166 has been screened for alcohol and drug abuse once. And the numbers that you are seeing on my right, if you click on them, you are able to see which date the screening was done and what was the outcome. If I do a summary, of this data that I have here, according to the way Bernard was taking us through, I can select maybe to summarize using the patient ID. And from there, you are able to see like patient number 166 has been on my custom question. Patient number 166 appears 12 times, 167 appears 11 times. So we've been able to use Metabase for such an analysis. You are able to, it's the way it is graphically displayed, you are able to easily maneuver through the data, extract the data that you want. You are able to connect various tables. You are able to decide which kind of join you want, because remember, when we did, when you do a join, if I can select for just illustration, if I do a join, you are able to select what type of join you want. And because maybe for some of us, the type of joins gives us problems when you are told left join, inner join, or a right join. Once you click, it's able to show you graphically what type of join that you are doing. The right outer join shows you that the database on your right will have will be the parent table, and then the left one shows you the left table is going to be the parent, and then you have an inner join here. You are able to easily preview the data that you want before actually you download it. So for us, we've been able to use the Metabase to maneuver and get some of the ad hoc requests that you get. For example, someone can tell you they want to see how many AYPs you have, how many clients are registered to OVC, and then if it's a line list that is required, you can easily manipulate. Maybe you want to know the ages, the gender of the clients that you are line listing. So it's easy and it's more maneuverable when you are seeing what you're doing. So in just a summary, that's basically how we've been able to adapt to using Metabase for our extraction of data. So thank you. Back to you, Ajuang.
Okay. Thank you so much, Silas. I know we skipped some questions, but they are more like, I've seen there's a question from Duncan on setup. There's been an SOP that is shared on the chat that will quickly guide you on how to set it up. Otieno covered that in the very beginning. I think one thing I wanted to confirm with Otieno is if there is a quick navigation aid for this as well, because now the setup is covered and people fairly have an idea on how to go around it. Do we have the navigation aid online as well?
Yes, John, we can provide the link to the navigation. The good thing is that if you go to the Metabase website, there's intensive amount of materials on how to do the navigation. So what I'm trying to do is to kind of summarize it into kind of like some logical steps, and we'll be sharing that with the users in the very near future.
Okay. Yeah, so to recap, I see somebody else is asking, Ronald is asking a repeat on the setup. Ronald, the quick setup guide is shared on the chat. Please take time to follow the link. It should be a fairly straightforward process, as Otieno showed. I see we are 8 minutes over the time. I don't know if we have any other due questions from the team. We can take 1 or 2 questions. Okay, if you have a question, please raise your hand. All right, I take it there is no more question for Otieno, except we need.
Ajuang, there's a question on the chat.
Okay.
From B. David. He's asking whether we have a Windows setup.
For the same tool. Otieno?
Yes, the one I showed when I started was a Windows setup. So the process is very simple. You just go to the Metabase website and download the setup file. The setup is just a Java file, so you don't need to install it anywhere. You simply need to put it into a folder in a location where you want to execute it from. Then you start it by just executing the Java file normally using the Java command, the Java jar, then you call the name of the file. You'll find that in an SOP, and there's a full guide on that, on how to do it on Windows.
Okay, and Anthony Kaunda is asking, does this fully replace Kenya EMR data tools? Anthony?
Yeah, Ajuang, I think being the first meeting, we can have majority test that. But already, I think Metabase is offering so much more than what data tool offers. So yeah, it's not final, but I think it should be a yes in the very soon.
Okay. Okay, I hope that's clear, Kaunda. So if there is no other urgent matter, I repeat the request we had. Could all partners kindly confirm their attendance? Just give us name and partner so that we use this for our registration and confirmation of attendance. So at this point, I would like to request Diana to make some remark regarding the data use community and this new tool that we are going to test out. Diana?
Thanks, Ajuang, and also the presenters, Otieno and Silas, for the good job. And also thanking everyone for finding time to attend to this session. This being one of the many sessions that we'll have, I think you've seen that there's a lot that we may need to explore with Metabase and a lot of analysis that we can do jointly. So like we mentioned in Nakuru, we'll be having data use community meetings with, of course, representatives from each organization. So we will have some time to just explore the data, have in-depth analysis of the data and also learn from each other. I'm sure there are so many things that Silas and team have been able to achieve or rather learn as they were setting up this in their facilities. So it will also be a good session for us to share experiences and also see how we can best see if we can improve this tool so that we can use it at a facility level. I've seen some comments that, yeah, the tool now can, at the facility level, we can be able to just visualize and also take the team through some of the data at site level easily. And of course, with good visualizations provided by Metabase, I'm sure we can usefully use the data from our sites to make decisions in our facilities. So I know we are a few minutes after the time that we had set. Of course, we'll be communicating this with our using our channels. I just want to give an opportunity to Anthony, maybe just to say something, and then I'll also ask our project director maybe to just say a few words before we close this meeting. So Anthony.
Thanks, Diana, and thanks everyone for making it for the meeting. I think we are happy when we move together, and I think there is so much we can achieve when we get good feedback from your side. So I think let's just say mbele pamoja. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Anthony. So yeah, tuko pamoja, mbele pamoja, okay? So I'd like to welcome Pascal maybe to just say a few words, and then I'll take it back to Ajuang for closing.
Oh, thank you, Tim, for a very wonderful session. And thank you all partners for making time to attend this very crucial meeting. Dan, I just want to check, do you have any representatives from CDC? I know we had Margaret a while back. I don't know if she's still in.
I think she's just left. I was trying to search her name. She was here, but I think she's just. Okay,
great. Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize just how important this is, and it represents a paradigm shift under Kenya HMIS, this current project, that we are looking more to drive data use at facility level, that's at the source, with the source systems, and at above site level. So we will be looking forward to your participation in the community of practice to better improve these tools And then we are hoping that, these engagements will shine a spotlight on the data that will unveil any quality issues and provide feedback to improve that quality. And then subsequently look to use this data for clinical decision support and public health action. So this is a very critical first step, as Diana mentioned, to the creation of this community, and then changing how we use our technology to advise our actions regarding the epidemic control. So asanteni sana, and looking forward to continued engagements. Over to you, Diana.
Yeah, thank you, Pascal. I don't know if we can have I don't have someone to pray, or over to you for the next step.
Okay, thanks, Diana. Maybe I'll volunteer someone. Moses, would you kindly do us a favor? Close for us with a word of prayer.
All right, let us believe and pray. Father, we thank you for yet another opportunity for us to be able to improve ourselves. We have had a good session, and I've learned a lot, that we're not only going practice for our sake, but also for the good of the project and for the good of the humanity that you're serving. We commit all participants who join this into your able hands. We pray that you may open their inner ears so that they may understand what was actually showcased today. I commit even the future, and I pray that we may overcome any technological challenges like we've experienced today. I pray this short prayer, trusting and believing in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Moses. So once again, we confirm the recording for the training is going to be uploaded on the Kenya HMIS YouTube channel. Just look out for it once it's uploaded. Thank you everyone, and have a peaceful, restful evening. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.